guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
And today we got 10 album recommendations for you. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click on that link down below and go check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group. I know we say it every week, but it's a cool place to hang out and continue that music conversation. There's a couple other links down there too. There's one for the Vinyl Den merch page. If you want one of these cool t-shirts, we got those on there. We got some sweatshirts also. There's also a link for the Vinyl Den Patreon page. If you want to support the show, it's always greatly appreciated. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down there. Give us the old thumbs up. And hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes. So for the first album that I've got, this is Dirty Honey. This album just came out this year. This is a band that I didn't really know anything about. And then a bunch of people were recommending the album on our Facebook group. So I figured I'd pick it up, give it a shot. And this is actually a really, really good album. To me, I kind of get like an early Black Crowes vibe from this album. Just a great rock album. If you're a rock fan, it's definitely a great one to check out. So far, it's probably in my top 5 right now as far as for new albums for the year. But that's it, Dirty Honey's self-titled debut.
So for my first recommendation, going with an Alice record. I know we talk a lot about Alice. He's one of my favorite artists. This album, though, came out in 2005. If you're a fan of old school Alice Cooper...
I'm just going to take this because Ian likes to hold this between his mouth and the microphone.
Oh, yeah. If you're a fan of old school Alice, you will probably like this album because there's a lot of kind of musical throwbacks to some of the earlier stuff from like Billion Dollar Babies and Muscle of Love and stuff like that. So check out this Dirty Diamonds. It's definitely a good late era Alice Cooper.
I think like post-trash... This is probably one of my favorite post-trash albums.
Yep. It
is a really good album. I guess for the rest of my list, I should kind of preface it all by saying I'm a big punk fan. So it's kind of where a lot of my tastes go. And the rest of my picks have a punk-ish kind of flavor to them. This next one is one that, they are kind of a kind of a newer punk band in the last, obviously from the 2000s. So they're not like a older punk band, but this album is very different from anything else that they've done. This is Damnesia by Alkaline Trio. Alkaline Trio obviously is a band that a lot of people in the punk community know, but Damnesia, this is a different album because these are acoustic takes on a lot of their hits. And I actually prefer a lot of the versions on this album over the stuff that on their regular studio album. So, if you are, if you haven't heard this, is definitely a good one to check out. It's a good entry point for Alkaline Trio, and I think a lot of people will like this stuff, even if you're not like a punk fan.
Well, I haven't listened to their other studio albums. I've only listened to this one. So going by that, I enjoyed the album a lot.
Yeah.
So. And
don't you have this guitar?
I do, actually, yep.
He's not even an Alkaline Trio fan.
I didn't even know it was an Alkaline Trio thing until, you told me. The guitar was given to me, that's why,
But, Damnesia is a fantastic album. This came out in 2011.
For my next recommendation, I'm going to go with the Decemberist, the Crane Wife. If you're a Decemberist fan, you already have this album, because this is like their big popular album. It came out in 2006. It wasn't their first album, but I think it was the first kind of mainstream album. And this was actually the very first record I bought when I started collecting vinyl again. I don't know. It's if you haven't heard Decemberists, kind of think it's folk-ish music with a bit of a rock tinge to it. But very unique also for the time that they are around. They came out in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. But this is kind of like considered their masterpiece.
I don't think I've heard any of their music.
Yeah, you might like it, you might not. I'm not really sure, but I really like this the Crane Wife. Okay, it's probably my favorite of their albums so far.
Sounds good. So for my next pick is something that I don't have on vinyl. It doesn't exist on vinyl, and it's something that unfortunately will never exist on vinyl, and that is Songs We Didn't Write by Goody Hook. Is it Goody Hook? I've talked about this on the channel before, and I was corrected about how to pronounce it.
And now you don't remember.
And I don't remember how to pronounce it, but that's it right there. This is a covers album, and it's just a fantastic album. It's something that I think I stumbled across in Tower Records, and like this came out in 1998, so it was probably around that
98,
time.
99, yeah.
That I was just in Tower Records with you, actually, I think, and that I was flipping through and came across this album. I thought the album cover kind of looked cool, if you can see it on there, and I was kind of intrigued by it. Was like a punk rock covers album of songs you wouldn't necessarily think of. You know, it's got I Love Rock and Roll on here, Earth Angel, which is a great pick. You know, Walking on Sunshine, stuff you wouldn't
normally associate with punk.
Exactly. So if you haven't checked that out, I know this is available on streaming services. It's a great one to check out for sure.
All right, for my third pick, Boys for Pele by Tori Amos. This came out in 1996.
Glary. I thought
it is a little bit glary. I didn't want to take it out of the sleeve.
Yeah.
Again, if you're a Tori Amos fan, you have this album. This was her third release. It came out, like I said, 1996. I would say this was probably my favorite album until 2002 when Scarlet's Walk came out.
Yeah.
But this is still my number 2 by her. Scarlet's Walk isn't on vinyl, unfortunately. At least
she's got several albums that aren't available on vinyl.
I think there might have been a vinyl pressing, but it's super expensive.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Boys for Pele. It's 80 minutes of music. Every song is good. Some of her biggest hits are off of this album.
Actually, I think this just got reissued not too long ago.
This is the reissue from 2016.
I know, about like this year, I think there was a reissue.
It was Under the Pink.
That's
the
right.
reissue for this year on pink vinyl. I already had it, so I didn't buy it because I'm not one of those multi-copy versions thing. That's more his gig. But yeah, check out Boys for Pele. If you like piano music, I know a lot of people don't necessarily like female artists. She's definitely one that you should listen to. So
another new album that came out this year, and just a really fantastic album. You probably haven't heard a whole lot off.
Not a whole lot. I've listened to a few tracks off, and I really liked what I've heard so far.
But this is the new Dropkick Murphy's album. This is Turn Up That Dial. This is an album that I've been a big Dropkick Murphys fan. At least their first, say, probably 4 or 5 albums. But I think this is their best album since Blackout, which was 2003, I think, when Blackout came out. 2003, 2005, one of those years. Early 2000s. But this is, I think, definitely their best work since then. Yeah. Just beginning to end, it's just a fantastic album. You know, Dropkick Murphys, what is a Celtic punk band, I think is what they're described as.
Irish punk, yeah. Kind of blending Irish pub music with punk music, with punk rock.
But, just a good, fun album for sure.
So for my fourth pick, I went with "Help a Stranger" by the Raconteurs, one of Jack White's bands. I love Jack White. I like the White Stripes. I like his solo work. I was kind of hesitant to get into these guys. I listened to this album on Spotify. I went out and bought it right away after.
This was 2018?
2019.
Oh,
and this was my favorite album of 2019 by a mile. I love this album. I listen to this probably once a month. Honestly, It's one of the few albums I constantly
keep in rotation.
I keep on rotation. Like I said, about once a month I throw this on without fail. So check out. I'm sure it was pretty popular when it came out, but just in case, check it out. It's really good.
It is a good album. So for my last pick is one that if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you're probably not going to be surprised by, because you guys know I'm a huge fan of this band. And it's a newer album. This is from 2018. This was the album that actually got me back into vinyl. And it's an album that the band, they were popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they actually they did a Kickstarter to crowdsource funding for this album. And it was, I got a copy of the album with the Kickstarter, so that's what kind of got me back into it. This is not the version of that I got, because of course I've got 4 copies of this album. But this is MxPx's self-titled album. This is, if you are a fan of that punk rock sound, this is a lot more reminiscent of their stuff from the late 90s. Because in the early 2000s, I think they kind of got away from that punk sound and kind of went to a little more of a straightforward rock sound. And this is definitely kind of a throwback to the little bit faster, little heavier kind of punk rock, and it's one that it's one that I consider probably one of their top maybe 4 or 5 albums overall.
So for my last pick, I went with something a little less recent. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Tarkus from 1971.
So it's 50th anniversary.
50th anniversary this year. This is not a 50th anniversary edition.
I don't think they did an anniversary edition.
I don't think so either.
There's a lot of albums that came out this year that's celebrating a big
50th.
Either 50th or 25th that I was kind of surprised they didn't do a whole lot with. And I wonder if part of that is because of delays in manufacturing or the pandemic,
yeah.
A lot of different
Although
factors.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer is releasing a giant box set of live recordings.
So maybe
they just didn't want to do it. To be fair, there's only one member of the band still alive. So it's really kind of down to Carl Palmer to decide that. But Tarkus is probably my favorite Emerson, Lake and Palmer album.
I think that's a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah, well, it goes between this and Brain Salad Surgery,
Oh, yeah,
I think.
That's true.
That being said, or even Trilogy. A lot of people like Trilogy. If you like kind of over-the-top prog rock, I mean, you can't go wrong with this.
Yeah.
The title track is like 17 minutes long.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer songs make Pink Floyd songs seem short.
Right. I mean, if you look at like Brain Salad Surgery, for example, Carnival 9, it is broken up into 4 parts, but it's one song, and it's 32 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, by that standard, yeah. But yeah, like I said, the title track is the best song on the album. It's the whole side one, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's got Bitches Crystal, and which is another good song. So yeah, check out Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
I think this is an album that is something that was popular for a period of time, and then over the course of the last 40, 45 years, I think it's kind of slid under the radar in a lot of instances. So this is a really good album to kind of go back and recheck out.
I would say that's definitely true. I think the problem with Emerson, Lake and Palmer is they were almost too prog. They were like almost the epitome of prog excess. And when that started to fizzle out in the mid 70s, no one really wanted to listen to that anymore. And then they tried their hand at like more simplistic music, and it just didn't work because that's their thing. And they never really went back to that prog element that made them what they were, even though they could have, say, in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But at least we have these recordings because both Keith Emerson and Greg Lake are gone. Yeah. So at least we still have these great recordings.
Well, that's all we got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Drop us a comment down below and let us know what you guys think of these picks, if you've heard any of them, or throw out your own picks for stuff that recommend for us to listen to. Because, like I said, I'm always interested in finding new stuff to listen to because I need a reason to buy more records.
Right. So. And if you haven't heard any of our picks, and then you listen to them, tell us what you think of them.
Absolutely. But if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give us the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell, and that's all we got. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Keep on spinning. Peace.